What you talking about, baby? What's got into your head? What you talking about, woman?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of A Wee Touch of Madness, the video podcast hosted by me, Loz, every single week. Now, today I have a very special guest with me. I have the legendary blues and country artist, Ken Tucker, with me today. How are you doing, mate?
Doing fantastic, man.
Doing absolutely fantastic. Now, for those of you who are unaware of Ken, he is going to tell us a little bit more about himself in a little minute. But this guy, honestly, his music, I took a listen to your music that you sent in, man, and I was blown away. I've never heard of country blues before. So it was really a really nice surprise for me. And if you at home haven't heard it before, I'll have his links down in the description, and I highly suggest you check him out. So, Ken, can you tell us more about yourselves to the people out there who will be watching this or who will be listening to this at home?
Well, I mean, where do you want me to begin? It's been a long road, dude. I guess I'll start at the beginning. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that's usually where most stories start.
Yeah, that's typically where they start. Yeah, the beginning. Well, I'm a middle child, first of all. I have an older brother.
Maybe not that far back.
I was born at a very young age. I'd say I'm a middle child, and I'm the only artistic. Well, my dad's an art teacher. He was an art teacher. He's a professional painter now that he's retired. But I have an art education degree. I taught art for a while, but I love music. I've always loved music. I grew up listening to my dad's record collection and my brother's record collection. And I got into the blues. Like I said, I have an older brother and a younger sister, and I have a younger brother. But at the time, I was the middle child. And my dad felt like, I need to give this kid some attention, right? So I was about 13. And he pulled me aside and said, listen, let's you and I go do something, just us two. And there's a town north of me called Terre Haute, Indiana. It's about 75. It's a college town, about 75,000 people. I'm from a town of about 4,500 people.
Right.
I know everybody. I'm related to half everybody. So he said, let's go to Terre Haute. Me and you'll do something. He said, there's a demolition derby or there's a Blues Brothers movie. You pick. I said, well, I hate demolition derbies. Let's go see the Blues Brothers. Because I was a Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi fan anyway. And Dad said, good, because I hate demolition derbies too. So we went to see the Blues Brothers, right? And the first song, and I never heard blues music before. I listened to like Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, CCR, the Beatles, everything to Jorma Conan, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And but when we got the first song that comes on is She Caught the Katy, which is a Taj Mahal cover of a Yank Rochelle song. But it was a Blues Brothers version. I thought, man, this is the coolest song ever. I've never heard this before. And as the movie goes on, you'll see guys like Cab Calloway, see Aretha Franklin, John Lee Hooker, James Brown as Reverend Cleophas James. And they had Ray Charles in there as a music store owner. And, and they had Booker T and the MGs as a backup band, which is Steve Cropper, Donald Duck Dunn, Mr. Fabulous, all these guys. And the music was so incredible and so palpable that I made a decision at that moment, because I was just learning guitar at the time. I started playing at like 11. I wanted to be a guitar player starting at 11. And I didn't know anything. I knew nothing about playing. I didn't. But I decided then I want to be a blues player. I didn't tell my dad because he said, come on, son, that's a great, come on. You don't want to be a blues musician for a living, But, I began to practice relentlessly to the point of irritating my entire family. And I remember Dad coming in my bedroom saying, can you turn that crap down? Can you play one song all the way through? I'm so tired of, It's like I was learning, but he didn't quite understand the concept of getting muscle memory and practicing till your fingers bleed, which is what I did. And I learned, I made a point of learning chords, learning music theory, learning scales and the structure of music and the mechanics of the fretboard and so on. And that took a long time. I also had a guitar mentor here in town named Tracy Garcia, who is, in my estimation, I would say one of the top 10 blues guitar players on the planet, bar none. And I say that in all sincerity. I think if I put him on stage with Eric Clapton and Joe Walsh and any of these guys, he would hold his own and not have to apologize for it. He is that good. And I go to his house, I knock on the door with my cheap ass guitar, my broken guitar in my hand. Hey, Tracy, can I come in and jam with you? He goes, sure, come on in. He never turned me away. And we sit there and jam, and he'd do something. And I'd say, how'd you do that? He'd show me. I said, what'd you do? He goes, just watch and you copy it. And so that's how I learned, a lot of the blues licks, because he was playing some crazy cool stuff like Hendrix and he played a lot of Eric Clapton, and we just were into that whole like canned heat, and he wasn't a big Eagles guy. He was more like into like Freddie King and Albert King and Albert Collins and those kind of guys, and so I might want to learn a CCR riff, and he'd show me.
Right.
But and I had a songwriting mentor here named Joseph Prody, who was he was an enigma. Jim was an enigma. He was very outspoken. The guy couldn't tune a guitar to save his life, but he knew so many songs it was ridiculous, and he'd write songs. So I would finally, after a while, he'd play something with the guitar, be tremendously out. He said, Jim, let me tune your guitar. And so I tuned it for him, and we'd play, all kind. He got, one of the things he taught me was I was pretty single-minded musically, and he said, you need to expand your horizons musically and listen to everything, because every genre has something to offer, and every artist, every songwriter has something to offer. You need to listen to stuff like Frank Sinatra and Harry Chapin and Jim Croce, and he got me into everything. The Bee Gees, Neil Diamond. He was a Neil Diamond fanatic, so I listened to a lot of Neil Diamond around Jim. But he was right. I mean, if you pigeonhole yourself into one particular thing, that all you listen to is this, and all you write is this, then you're limiting yourself tremendously in an artistic sense.
And then how do you expect to grow as an artist who's trying to improve their music if you only focus on one thing?
Yeah. I'm not a country fan by any stretch of the imagination. But when my dad, the guy who told me to turn it down is now like, when are we going on tour again? He was my tour buddy. When you go on tour, like, when are we going to Atlanta again? When are we going to Memphis again? And so I had a 4-day tour on the East Coast one time. It was like I had to play 4 shows in 4 states in 4 days. So I had to play South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. And my dad's like, I want to go. I said, okay, I'll drive. I said, fine, I'll sleep. No, I didn't get to sleep. We listened to Glenn Campbell, Marty Robbins. Who's that one English lady that was on Britain's Got Talent that everybody thought was going to be a complete disaster, trying to be a phenomenal
Susan Boyle, I think.
Yeah, Susan, we listen to Susan Boyle like crazy. He loves Susan Boyle. So we listen to all the everything like that, and it was fart jokes and contemporary music the whole way. And but I had to really force myself to listen to all kinds of things I normally don't listen to, and kind of take mental notes on musical arrangements, lyrical content, melody, harmonies, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I try to incorporate this in all my songwriting, you know. But I've been going at this since full time since about 1995 ish, and
Jesus, that's a long while.
yeah, my son is 23. I started, you know, about a little bit before he was around. Now my son's my drummer when I need one. he I got him playing drums professionally at 12. He's a tremendous talent
Yeah.
and a monumental pain in the ass, but a tremendous talent.
Well, what would your son be if he wasn't a monumental pain in the ass, eh?
Yeah. Well, my older son, he lives in Florida,
Right.
and he is very subdued, very laid back, kind of like you know, working his job and living his life. And my daughter lives about, I'd say, 40 miles from me, and I got three grandkids with her, and she's working a job and being a mommy. And then there's my younger son who made me start losing hair, and even at this time right now, I'm kind of, him and I are having not words, but it's like, you know, he'll say something and you know, well, it's probably not going to happen. But he is a phenomenal drummer, and he's learning guitar. He's getting really good at guitar right now. So he can't sing, but I can't really either. I just pretend to sing.
Just pretend to sing.
Yeah, I'm not a singer. I just play one on television.
Right. Okay. So then moving on then, if you could do like a collaboration, because I know you've done a few collaborations before
Yeah.
with a lot of your music. So if there was someone who you could do a collaboration with the most, who would it be?
Well, I will say this. One of my label mates, Matthew Reed, he lives in Scotland,
All
and we're
right.
going to collaborate. Yeah, he is amazing. Matthew Reed is fantastic. And I talk to him about once a month, and we decided to collaborate because he is just absolutely fantastic. And I'm doing another collaboration with one of my label mates from Spain. His name is Christian Vale, and we're going to collaborate too. And I'm doing another collaboration with one of our Japanese label guys named Kalek. And you know, I'm going to be doing more collaborations than my own music, but which is fine. It means I don't have to write so much, you know. But if I could pick a household name artist, there'd be, man, who would it be? I can't limit it to one. I mean, I want to collaborate with Paul McCartney before he completely loses his voice, and or Ringo Starr, or Eric Clapton or Joe Walsh, Keb Mo.
Or me?
Definitely, I'd like to collaborate with Keb Mo. He's amazing.
Or me?
Or you.
Or
Right
me?
on, man.
Eh,
Dude, I will collaborate with you anytime you want, brother.
I can't sing for shit, but I can
Well,
wail.
you
I
know,
can wail like nothing.
I was uh, I was not a singer originally. I was a sideman, right? I was what they call a hired gun, basically a guitar player on the side. And I didn't think much of my voice. And I remember being on tour with the legendary Larry Norman. And I know you don't know who he is, but you need to look him up. Larry Norman was the uh, basically the grandfather of the Christian rock movement. He was started the whole thing, and I was a
Right.
fan. So I met him, and he liked my playing and invited me to play for him. And on the end of our last tour together, excuse me, my sinuses, it's allergies, man. I'm telling you, allergies suck. But at the end of our last tour, uh, I was in the hotel room and we were kind of cleaning up and get ready to go. And he knew I was getting ready to leave. And he said, well, what are you going to do when you get back? Because we were in Washington State.
Right.
Oh, we just did a show at a place called the Gorge at George in Washington, and it's like the biggest outdoor venue in Washington State. And he was a headliner, so we had a big audience, but it was him. It wasn't me by any means. He would have had that same audience if it was anybody else. But um, anyway. So what are you going to do when you get home? And I said, well, Larry, I don't know. I'd like my band's breaking up, and I want to go solo, but I can't sing. And he said, well, Mick Jagger and Bob Dylan can't sing, and they're millionaires. And he said, you got a good speaking voice. I don't see why you couldn't sing. And I said, well, I don't have a pretty voice. He goes, well, who cares? Pretty's boring. Who wants to hear Celine Dion? You want a relevant voice like Bruce Springsteen or someone like that. Because if you sing relevant, people will listen. And I said, well, that makes sense. He goes, well, if you can tune your guitar, you can tune your voice. And he
That
said, just
actually
don't
sounds
sing.
like brilliant advice. If you can tune a guitar, you can tune your voice. If you
Because
can
if you,
fiddle
yeah,
around with a drum set, you can fiddle around with your voice.
yeah, and it basically said, if you hear yourself singing flat or sharp, make the adjustment. But he said this trick, don't try to sing out of your range. Don't try to sing real high, real low, even though I'm a baritone. So most of my vocals are a little bit lower. And he said, and don't practice on stage. Do your practicing at home and get secure on what you're doing, and then do it on stage. But he said, your singing would be fine. And I said, okay. So I started, and it was a rough way to go for a while because I really was new to it.
Hmm.
And but once I started I really practiced a lot. My wife can tell you that I practiced a lot. And she goes, well, my wife said, I never thought you'd be a singer. And she's sitting there shaking her head, yeah, I didn't. But one of my buddies, he's named Dan Lanham. He was a worship leader at a church, and I used to play guitar for him. And someone did a documentary on me. John Boynton came down from Michigan to shoot a documentary on me. And
Wait,
he
wait,
asked
wait, wait, wait,
Dan,
wait, 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 wait. There's a documentary on you?
yeah, yeah. And
How
I'm
come
getting
I
in
didn't know about this in our conversation before the interview?
because I didn't think about it a time. Um, no,
I tell
I
you
don't
what,
even know.
everybody, if you want to watch that documentary, Ken is actually going to send me the link to that later. So I will have
I
a link
am.
to that down in the description if you want to check that out, because I definitely want to check it out.
Well, yeah. I got to find it. I think I can find it. I think I'll find it. I haven't watched it for years. Um, no, but he asked Dan. Dan's a trained opera singer, right? He's got an angelic voice. And John Boynton goes up to Dan on camera and said, so what do you think of Kent Tucker singing? He goes, oh, he's a great guitar player. Now, what do you think of his singing? Yeah, he's a really good guitar player. So, but over the years, I found my voice. I developed it. I still am not a big fan of my own voice, but I never will be. And but people like it. Some people like, it's one of those like that Bob Dylan, Neil Young thing, or Tom Waits. You either love it or you hate it. There's no in between.
Like Marmite.
Yeah.
Like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. I love Marmite. So then, with that, then obviously, with that whole thing of like training your voice, so that you're able to sing on stage and all that, can you explain to me the creative process that you go through when you create your music? From when you get the idea to when you put it down on paper to when you finally release it.
Well, that's a difficult question for a songwriter because inspiration sometimes just pops up, or sometimes you got to go looking for it, or you got to create. Listen, did I send you the song 10 Cent Down? I think I did.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Okay, I'll tell you about 10
I've
Cent
got my
Town.
notes here. Yeah, you did.
Okay, tell you about 10 Cent Town here. 10 Cent Town, did you hear it?
No, I didn't hear it.
The inspiration for that song came from my grandmother, my late grandmother, who had pretty much, I'd say, half raised us because my mother was sick so much growing up. We spent a lot of our time at my grandmother's because my mom had, she was in and out of the hospital a lot, and my dad had to get up really early to go to work, and so he'd wake us up at 5:30 every morning. We get dressed, and he'd take us to my grandmother's house. Well, if we had a fever, we were sick, and we had to stay home. We had to stay at her house most of the time,
Mm,
and she was born in 1910 in southern Indiana. So she's the only child pretty much on this farm, helping, doing the boys working around a bunch of old farmers. So she picked up the colloquialism of that era.
mm.
And so she had all these weird sayings. And one of them, like if we were sick, I bet you feel like a 9-cent bum in a 10-cent town. And my brother and I were talking, I think it was a couple of years, about 3 or 4 years ago, my older brother, and he was saying, man, you ought to write a song with one of Mama's weird sayings in it. And so we were going through the different ones. And he said, well, what about 9-cent bum and 10-cent town? And I said, okay. So I started, and I remember going into the studio, and I didn't have all the words. And my producer, Tim Bashong, who's a phenomenal producer, I have two very strong producers. I either use Virgil Franklin or Tim Bashong, two great producers, but they're completely different. Virgil's really laid back, and Tim's like, let's get it done. And so I was there trying to figure out how to write the words. So Tim comes up to me and goes, I'm going into the kitchen to make coffee. I'll be back in 10 minutes. If you don't have those lyrics done, you get no coffee. And so I said, okay. So I got the lyrics down real quick because I wanted some coffee. And so but 9-cent bum and a 10-cent town was inspired by my grandmother, and it's one of her old sayings. And then Brother Whiskey and Sister Nicotine, or Brother Whiskey, that one in collaboration I sent with you from the other band, Cygnus, who's also on my label. They're from South America. I wrote Brother Whiskey in a coffee shop in Sullivan, Indiana, on a napkin while I was sitting smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee. And I didn't think anything would come. I thought, well, it fits this. I had this guitar chord riff, it was this a chord progression, and I liked the progression. I couldn't come up with any lyrics, and so I was sitting down thinking, and I think, man, I'm smoking a lot, and I was drinking at the time. I was drinking a lot of whiskey, and I've been sober now since May 12th. So, but all of a sudden, like out of the blue, this words brother whiskey and sister nicotine. Because I was always, if I was drinking whiskey, I was smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Brother whiskey and sister, they go hand in hand, or they're like siblings. And then the words started coming: brother whiskey, sister nicotine. I must confess, you got your claws in me.
I actually did listen to that song as well. I actually did listen to that a little
Yeah.
while ago, and that was really good. I actually really did enjoy it. It was a little bit different to the other song that you sent me, Junkyard Hot Rod, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it all the same. But I listened to that as well, and I was just like, oof, yeah, okay. I'm definitely feeling what this guy's got. Yeah, this is really good.
And they asked me to cover that, and I said, yeah, sure. Well, we want you on it too. Okay. And we need you to record audio and video. Well, thankfully, my friend Chris Walters, who everybody knows around here as Frog, has a literally a professional TV and audio studio in his garage. And he's like got commercial quality video cameras and mic. Like I was getting ready to sing in one of the microphones. Well, that microphone there you're singing in is worth about $1,000. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. Um,
His
and
$1,000 microphone and my £35 microphone.
But it was an honor to be asked, and they did a phenomenal job with it. And they go, yeah, that song is perfect the way you did it, man. It's perfect the way you did it, and we don't think we can do it better, but we just want to do it if you don't mind. I said, I don't care. There's no, but I want you to know your way is perfect. We love that one. I said, okay, thank you. But they did a phenomenal job, and it's like, and actually the place I wrote the coffee shop, I found the lyrics in an old crossword puzzle book. And they said, I took it to them and presented the lyrics because they heard the song. And I said, this song has gone a long way. And I wrote it right over there on a table in the back of this cafe. And so I autographed the napkin the lyrics were on, and they were framing it and putting it up in the coffee shop and as a like a little display, you know.
Yeah.
But Brother Whiskey has gone, I mean, it's got so much airplay. And it was just one of those happy accidents, you know, that the right lyrics with the right chord progression. And, you know, and Junkyard Hot Rod, you mentioned that one. I was staying with a friend of mine. I don't know how long we were there. It's been about 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm.
We're staying at a friend's house. He has a studio in his front room. Well, actually, I call it studio. He turned his front room into it's like he has an Apple and a Macintosh with GarageBand. He likes to record musicians just for fun. And so he looked at me and go, let's make a record. Okay. So I sat down and we started. I said, I'm going to do all new songs. You can help me write them. So we sat down and we were brainstorming. And he said, why don't you write a song? This guy's name is John Russell. And, you know, he's got a nice little studio in his front room. To write a song about a guy who goes to a junkyard and buys a piece of crap car and fixes it up to be a nice one. And I said, that sounds like a good idea. And I'll call it Junkyard Hot Rod. And so that's where that came from. Just him give me the idea. And sometimes that's how they come, you know. Sometimes there's some songs I wrote because I misunderstood lyrics on a song I like. And I read them back and I said, oh, that's not what it says, but I like what I had in my head.
Yeah.
So I write a song like that, you know, or I see something on TV or in the news or like from a book I've read or whatever, you know. Songwriting is one of those mysterious things where inspiration is fickle. Sometimes I go for a long stretch of months, complete dry spell. And then I will all of a sudden have 2 or 3 songs come flooding into my head at the same time. And I got to like write them down before I forget them. And then I got to, put music to them and demo them. So, songwriting, I write 10 songs, I get 2 good ones. I throw out 8 away, you know. So I got to write the crap to get to the good stuff anyway. But that's my process.
That's the process.
Yeah.
Right. Well, everybody, we are going to take a short little break. We are going to actually play a sample of a song from Ken's latest album, Naked. Now, the song I've picked is You and I.
I wrote that for a movie soundtrack that never got made. The movie filmmaker asked me to write a song for a short film he was making. And he said it's about 2 people who are madly in love but can't get along. And I said, well, I can come up with a song for that. And so I wrote the song and played it for him. He goes, that's fantastic. And I said, and then next thing you know, he falls off a ladder and breaks his back and never makes the film. So I just kept, well, he's all right, but he just never made the film. But I kept the song. I'm keeping the song. Yeah. So You and I, it's not blues. It's more singer-songwriter type of stuff, you know?
Singer-songwriter sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, make sure you keep that in mind when you actually listen to the song that I'm about to play in a minute, and let us know what you think of it down in the comments.
Yeah. There's you and I, and this canyon between us. All the stuff we've been through, all the drama, and neither one knows what the other one is going to do. You and I, we've seen it all. Like the soldiers from some old war. You and I, we bear the scars to prove our love.
So that was You and I. So what did you think of that little sample? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, and if you really enjoyed it, and you let me know, I can let Ken know.
Yeah,
So
I'd appreciate the feedback, you know?
yeah, any sort of feedback is good.
And
Any
that's
sort of
one of
feedback.
those things where my voice is really, really rough. You know, I mean, I sing on key, but I at that point I'd been singing all day,
Yeah,
and so I've got a lot of rasp in there, you know, and more than I have now.
more than you
And
have now.
yeah, yeah.
So Ken, what is the one thing that you know now that you wish you could have told your younger self at the start of your music career?
That list is so freaking long. I can't even begin.
Okay, well, shorten it down then.
Yeah, be humble, and and be smart.
Be
And
humble and be smart.
yeah, that's it. I mean, be humble and be smart.
I really like that answer. That was a really good answer. Most of the answers that I get are like, "Oh, I wish I paid more attention to marketing. I really wish I posted more content. I really wish I did that, this and that." But I like that answer. Be humble, but be smart about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
really like
because
that.
a lot of musicians, first of all, I know some musicians who are their own biggest fans.
Mm,
And you know, they act like everything they do is fantastic, and they have people crawling out of the woodwork to see them when they don't. And it's like, you know, if you go around, yeah, like my grandfather used to tell me, the people who toot their horn the loudest has the smallest horn to toot.
yeah,
And if you go around singing your own praises, that's because no one else is doing it, and you feel like you deserve it. And at one point, when I was a lot younger, I was that way, and it cost me a lot of opportunities that would have possibly come my way if I'd have just shut my freaking mouth and been in, like, you know, uh, not every door.
so like stop thinking that you are absolutely amazing and
Yeah,
actually be humble and smart about what you're doing. You're not amazing yet. You still need to
yeah.
practice, sort of thing.
Well, even if you are really good and you think but you go around telling people how great you are, you're just an asshole.
Well, that must make
And
me
like,
an arsehole because I tell people I'm great all the time.
well, I'm yeah. but you're humorous. I mean, people who seriously act like that you should just throw roses petals at their feet when they walk around you. And one thing I've learned from real great musicians who have a lot of fans is that they understand their humanity.
Yeah.
Uh, and one thing I found that the musicians who made it to the top but had to really work their butts off to get there are the ones who are most willing to help younger artists
Yeah.
and the ones who are willing to get, because if you were just given this, like some of these new artists get through, they're immediately famous because they look a certain way. And any more in the music business, it's not music anymore. It's fashion shows with lip syncing. And
Fashion shows with fashion shows with lip syncing. I like that.
well, because the packaging has become more important than the contents of the package.
Yeah, you know what? I actually completely 100% agree with you there. I really do. Yeah. If you don't have an original sound and you're just feeding off like a certain stereotype to try and get famous, you're not really, in my eyes, you're not actually a musician. You're just
Well,
someone faking it until you made it. Basically, you need to actually work on your craft.
and to be quite honest, a lot of these so-called singers, new singers that look like fashion models and can dance. I tell you what, auto tune has made their career because if you actually heard them sing, oh my God! But I'm from the old school where like someone like Janis Joplin, if she went on TV to be like on The Voice or American Idol, they would have shot her down because she wasn't a fashion model. She wasn't hideously ugly, but she wasn't, movie star pretty. But she was a true artist, and her voice was uniquely her. Now the voice, they're not looking for unique and artistic anymore. They're looking for what can make a quick buck,
Yeah.
and they're following trends. And if you don't fit in that trend persona, you're not going to get anywhere in mainstream music. But that's what's beautiful about independent music. Like, I'm a big fan of like Tom. Have you heard of Tom Waits?
Vaguely, I think the name sounds familiar, but
Yeah, I'm a fan of Tom Waits. He sounds like he's gargled with jet fuel. I mean, he's got.
I think I have heard of him. Then yeah.
But his songs are phenomenally wonderful. I love his voice. His songs are amazing, and he's another one, a true artist like Neil Young, who's just really nasally and whiny. But his music, his songs are fantastic. Bob Dylan, songs are fantastic. But if they tried to make it today, they wouldn't because they don't look the part and they don't sound the part. And because back then the art and the music was what was important to be. Actually, to be in the music business, you had to be a freaking musician. What a concept. Now if if you're a girl, you have to have big boobs and a slim waist and be able to lip sync to something that maybe someone else even sang and dance around. And it's stupid. It is stupid. And there is an upsurge of new organic musicians that are actually playing real music. And it's been going on for about 10 years, especially around Nashville and Austin, Texas area. One of those artists I think I really enjoy is Todd Snyder. He is absolutely brilliant. And he's just an old hippie. Well, he's younger than me. I say old hippie. He's 2 years younger than me. So I guess that makes me freaking old. But his music is brilliant. And of course, Ray LaMontagne is magnificent. I love his music. And there's just so many guys like the Kentucky Headhunters. The guitar player is a friend of mine. They are just real American blues rock country. They
Mm,
just tear it up. Greg Martin is one of the most fantastic guitar players. Him and Billy Gibbons are friends. Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top and him are friends. And they play a lot alike. But Greg and I both endorse the same guitar slide company. In fact, yeah, Rocky Mountain Slides. Rocky Mountain Slides are awesome. These are
okay.
fantastic slides. And Doc Sigmeyer is my hero. But yeah, we endorse the same slide company. Greg can play slide like a monster. And that's the new movement in music where going back to where musicians are actually being in the music business
Yeah.
instead of pretty boys and pretty girls. Music is beginning to matter again, thank God.
And now,
And
talking about listening to real music, for all of you at home, I have actually released a Spotify playlist of all the guest music that has been on the show so far, and all of those that are going to be coming on the show in the future. All their music is getting added to that Spotify playlist. It's going to get updated every week. If you want to check it out, I highly suggest you do. It will be down in the description, and Ken's music is going to be there as well if you want to check his out as well. So if you want to listen to genuine music from genuine artists, and especially the artists who I've interviewed in the past, definitely check that out. You won't regret it. You've got all sorts of music there. You've got your hip hop, you've got your pop punk, you've got your country blues now. You've got a bit of everything. There's a bit of something there
and
for everyone.
I love old school punk. I love old school punk. I do. I love the Ramones and the Sex Pistols music was really interesting. And who Velvet Underground, I love them. So I mean, I like old school punk. And there was at one time, and this is going to blow your mind because I don't know if you ever heard of this, a mixture of country and punk called cowpunk.
I've never heard of that. You have my attention. Okay,
Yeah,
you've
there
got
was
my
bands.
attention. Okay.
I'm going to send you if I can find some old cowpunk because it's not really a thing anymore. But there were bands that were doing a combination of country and punk, and it was so cool.
A
And
combination of country and punk.
yeah,
I am actually genuinely interested in that. That
yeah,
actually sounds pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah. It was called cowpunk. Now,
Yeah, if
what
you
we
can find
call it,
anything, send it to me. I want to. I'll definitely
I
take a
will.
listen.
But now there is this abomination, this so-called musical abomination of mixing rap and country. Oh my
Country rap.
God. Whoever came up with that needs to be dropped from a helicopter into a buffalo stampede and then set on fire and
Are
put
you
out
t-
with an ice pick.
are you talking
Uh,
about country rap?
we call it hick hop.
Hip hop, yeah, the original term for
Hick
it,
hop.
but country rap is what it's more widely
Yeah,
known
it's
as.
there.
And now everybody at home who watch my shows, you know how much of a country rap fan I am. So that
Are
one
you
kind of hit.
serious?
I love
Are you?
country rap. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I absolutely love country rap.
Okay. Well, you know what? I will forgive you.
I love country
I,
rap.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you something. Have you heard of Cowboy Troy?
no.
He was the rapper with Big and Rich,
Okay.
and he went solo. He's like 6'8", just a gigantic dude. And I was playing in a band with a girl from Canada for a festival. She needed a backup band. They called me. I put together a backup band. We played this festival. Sean Mullins was there. I played some with Sean Mullins, but Cowboy Troy and Sean Mullins were the headliners.
Hmm.
And the first thing I remember about Cowboy Troy is my bass player and I were sitting in we thought was an empty dressing room, practicing the songs before we went on stage. And we saw this tall black man peek in the door. He goes, "Man, you guys sound awesome. Thank you." Hey, and I said, "Thank you." He goes, "Hey, man, this is my dressing room. Can you get the hell out of here?" I said, "Sure." That was Cowboy Troy. But my son, my son, who was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 at the time, just absolutely loved Cowboy Troy. And every time he turned around, he's putting something in Cowboy Troy's hand to sign. I mean, he must have signed everything my son had. But Cowboy Troy was, he honestly, he sang the show. He didn't rap at all. I thought I was going to hear a bunch of country rap. The guy sang a cover of Ace of Spades, and he was a rapper in a country band. And he
Wow.
did a darn good job singing Ace of Spades. I'm like,
I'm definitely gonna have to check this guy out. I'll
this
definitely
guy
check
can
him
win.
out.
Cowboy Troy.
Cowboy
Yeah,
Troy.
and he's a giant, man. The guy is like literally 6'8". He could be an NBA player. But he got on stage and he ripped it up, man. He sang some rock and roll that was, it blew my mind because I was expecting rap. But he tore it up. And but yeah, I'm not a big fan of country rap at all. I think
I love country rap. Absolutely
I'm
love country
sorry.
rap.
Well, I still love you, man. I do. Yeah, we can all
Thank you.
we can disagree. We can agree to disagree on that because I think it's horseshit.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's just funny how my opinion is always right.
Yeah.
So then moving on, where can the people at home, if they're watching this or if they're just listening to this in the background, where can they like listen to your music online, or where can they connect with you online if they just want to drop in and say hello?
And they can find my albums, some of them, because not all of them are available anymore. They can find my current recordings at countzerorecords.com. Countzerorecords.com. And I also have merchandise like my lovely coffee cup that's coffee stain now, Kentucker band.
I like that.
And I've got hoodies and bikinis and what else? Mouse pads and t-shirts and hats and blah 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 blah. And my albums are at countzerorecords.com. And that's where I suggest, and you can contact me through the record label. That's the probably easiest way. Just go to Count Zero Records and you can email me through there, or you can email my record label president, George, or any of the other staff there who tolerate me.
Right, if you missed that, everybody, as per if you're watching this on video, then you will know that I will have the little tags floating about. So if you missed that, I will have that tag up there somewhere on the screen. So if you missed it, I'll have it there, and if you missed it again, that will be down in the description as well. So what is the message that you would like to give to your fans who will be watching this then?
I love you all.
I love you all. That is just so humble. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Well, I do. I mean, my fans, I kind of break the rule that Larry told me, don't let your fans become your friends. Sometimes I do. Sometimes my fans become my friends. I have a very good friend, one of my fans from Canada. This is a funny story because it was completely accidental. But I became friends with him on Facebook, right?
Right.
And my wife and I were at Walmart, and I pulled up to let her load whatever. I was going to help her load the crap she got from Walmart into the car. And as I was trying, because my car was tiny. It was like I didn't get in the car; I put it on, But I was on Facebook Messenger, and I was talking to one of my friends, and I happened to have this guy near there in the lineup on my screen, right?
Uh-huh.
And somehow I pushed FaceTime. And so it called him, and I'm trying to get out of the car, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you called me. Oh, I can't believe you called me." And he called his wife over to show her, "Hey, honey, you can't believe you called me. Come here." And she's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing, Ken?" I was like, "I'm doing great." "Oh, I can't believe you called me. I'm so excited." And I said, "Hey, buddy, I'll call you back later. I'm just trying to get out of the car." Tell my wife, I'm at Walmart, man. So I called him back. I did call him back later, and then we keep in touch pretty regular. He's a sweet guy, just a nice guy. And yeah, but he was like, you thought someone of great importance called him, and it was just me. And it's like, I can't believe you're excited that I called you, but hey, that's cool.
You know what? Actually understand that because my wife is the same. Every time I phone her, she gets so excited as if someone of great importance has phoned her.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, my wife does too.
And now my wife is going to kill me when she sees this
Yeah.
for me saying that.
Yeah.
So if there's
No,
not
but
an episode next week, everybody, you know why. It's because my wife has murdered me. I will edit that bit. I will edit that bit
please
out.
don't murder him until you get this out because then afterward, yeah, we'll see. Um,
Right. So, Ken, we are now at the crucial part of the interview, the part of the interview where we get down to the nitty gritty part, the part where I ask you some tough questions. It's going to be quite controversial. It's going to
all
make
right,
you feel uncomfortable, and I can guarantee it
good,
100%. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable.
good.
Okay. And if you do feel
Good
really
stuff.
uncomfortable and you want me to stop, all you got to do is say, and
Suck.
I will completely ignore you and carry on.
All right,
Okay?
sounds like a plan, buddy. Yeah,
Sound like a plan. Right, so are
sounds like
you
a
ready?
plan.
Are you ready for your first super serious question?
Rock and roll.
Yeah. Where is the most inappropriate place that you have farted?
Here we go. I told this story last week, and
Okay.
when the podcaster asked me the most embarrassing moment on stage, and I'll tell you the story behind it. I was in a band. I was actually in a band that I was not a singer, which was a good thing because our singer was John Henderson was a singer, and John Henderson is one of the greatest rock and roll singers I've ever heard. One of the best. I mean, he sounds like, let's put it this way, he looks like a banker, but sounds like Steve Perry. I
Okay.
mean, he really looks like a banker. I mean, he's got my haircut, a little chubby. He's a tall, kind of chubby guy, but he can sing like a monster. And he played. And so we are doing this show up in Chicago, or they say Chicago when you're in Chicago, and we're getting ready to start the load in, and we decide let's have something to eat beforehand. And so, right next door to the venue was a place called Baja Burrito Boys. It's a Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
So we go in there, and I'm thinking like it's going to be something like Taco Bell, just like, but it's real Mexican food. And so I ordered a cheeseburger and a burrito, thinking the burrito wasn't going to be that big. Well, holy moly, the burrito is almost as big as my head, and the cheeseburger was big enough to use as a life raft. And so I sat down with this monstrosity of food, and John sitting next to me goes, "Are you going to eat all that?" I said, "I bought it. If I have to choke it down, I'm going to eat it." So I ate all of it. I ate all of it, and my goodness. And then I made the mistake of having a Pepsi.
Oh
And
no.
we were on stage, and I was passing more gas than a pipeline. And I was right next to John. John's trying to sing, and he's looking at me like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I was like,
God.
"I can't help it." And
Oh
it
fuck
was,
no.
it was the whole 2 hours. I was, oh man, I think I fumigated the stage.
Oh
I mean, it
wow.
was like you would have had to have a hazmat team clean that up.
Oh
And then
my.
after we got done, John looks at me outside. He's going outside, goes, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And John looks at me, goes, "I'm never letting you eat before we play again."
Oh my fuck.
Yeah. Oh, but we were one of three bands. So the other bands, we were the middle band. So the third band had to like go up there and go, "Oh, my God." But yeah, that Mexican food, man, it works. It worked me over, man. It
Oh
was,
fuck.
it was potent. Yeah.
Oh fucking hell. So then what is your favorite song that you've done that you love performing then when you're on stage?
My favorite song on stage. Um, It all comes down. I mean, you want to cover original.
Original.
Uh, I like playing Brother Whiskey when the band knows how to play it. But sometimes when I'm like doing open mic for fun, my old booking agent walks through there. He used to walk through there and he go, Brother Whiskey from the back of the, whatever club. It's like, Bob, these guys don't know it. Well, I'll just fake it. They'll pick it up. I said, it's not typical 12 bar blues. It's got a, it's got a three in there. It's got a six and a five and a four, and it's not typical 12 bar. They'll figure it out. So I have to tell them, okay, here's how you play this song, and then we'll give it a shot. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. I say, well, if it sounds like crap, it's not anyone's fault except my old agent. So, but other songs I like to play of mine on stage, One Stop Man, which you don't have. I can send that to you too. Because I wrote it about my wife. All the all the dirty songs are about me and my wife, And one of my friends, that song's kind of racy. Yeah, I wrote about my wife. I love my wife. I think she's sexy. And so these sexy songs are about her. And so yeah. I used to like playing the song Coal Shed because it's a one chord jam.
Right.
People thought, I told my brother, I said, I have a song just one chord, and it lasts almost 10 minutes. He goes, dude, what is it? One chord, 10 minutes? I said, it's built on dynamics. It's all about dynamics. And that's one song that I used to play and people would just get up and dance to. And it was just that kind of groove.
Yeah.
And because I remember like John Lee Hooker had some one chord jams. Sometimes Howlin' Wolf, one of his songs, a lot of his songs are like in E, and they stay in E, like or whatever chord he's in. And so I just thought, this song was fun to play and I can solo. And I'm not a shredder, but, I don't like shredding. I think shredding is what my guitar mentor, Tracy, called musical masturbation. And
what an elegant way of putting it.
well,
Musical masturbation.
Well, that's the one time it's like, here's one thing, and this is some advice for guitar player, because Tracy is a smart guy, very smart. When I was like 15, Van Halen came out, right?
Uh-huh.
So I go to Tracy's house and I say, come on in, man, come on, we can jam. So I started trying to do that Van Halen stuff. And Tracy looks at me and puts his hand on mine and said, dude, stop that. It's fast as here and gone, but soul lasts forever. What you're doing there is musical masturbation. And he said, what you need to do is go home and listen to an old soul singer sing and copy his voice, copy his vocal lines on your guitar. Because they're singing in a scale like you're playing in a scale. So if you can copy the vocal lines of, say, Ray Charles or Sam Cooke or Otis Redding or any one of those guys, like maybe today would be Joss Stone or Beth Hart, copy their vocal lines on the guitar, and he goes, you turn your guitar playing into a second voice and make it like a voice.
Yeah.
And so, it's not because all these shredders they write songs just to shred over. And to me, that's meaningless. A song needs to communicate something, and it needs to really communicate something besides listen to me. When I write a song to minister to my moment. And I write that for me, and I put it out and if it reaches somebody else, man, that's great. That's what makes it worth it. I remember I wrote a song and I performed it and at a church. And one of my friends, and I just wrote it for me because I was going through a rough time. My mother had passed away, and it was just really difficult for me
Mm.
because she, like I said, she'd been sick her whole life. She died at 59. She was young, and so I wrote this song. And when I performed it, one of my friends came up to me crying after church. Goes, "Man, I really needed to hear that song today. Thank you." And that made writing that song worth so much to me. And that's why when I hear these guys, what the only reason to write that song is so you can just beat off over it. And it has no meaning. It has no meaning.
You've
I'd
got
rather listen
such
to
an elegant way with words that is that every now and then you say something like that and it completely catches me off guard. I'm
no.
like, what? Oh no, yeah, I get what you're saying there, and then bang, what the fuck?
Well, I feel real. I just feel really passionate about the art of music, and I think people who go in it half-assed, they either go in it to. If you're going into music because you want to be famous, you're going in for the wrong reason. And I was talking to Virgil one time. Virgil Franklin, he's the other producer I use. Brilliant guy, wonderful. The guy can play everything. He can play everything well. I literally mean everything. Every horns, piano, drums, guitar, bass, anything. You could throw a pair of sticks at him off the ground, and he can make music with them. But we're talking about music one time, and he said, Ken, we're not musicians by choice. We're musicians by calling. And music chose us. And there's no way to avoid it. It's going to, and we're going to make music whether anyone, even if we're singing at home by ourselves.
Yeah.
I can't count the times I'm sitting here in the front room just singing some kind of tune that's going through my head. And I heard Marsha go, "What are you doing?" I'm singing. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to me. No, I'm singing. And but music is a calling. It's something that we we cannot help.
So then, so then with that, if there was something about the music industry that you had the power to change and you could change it, what would it be?
Um, to be quite honest with you, the state of music today, I would want it to be about the music instead of about the packaging, because the packaging is that, here's the problem with the music industry today. Major labels, especially, their demographic is 13-year-old girls, and they get these young kids to make shitty music that the 13-year-old girls can dance to, and that's all they care about is dancing to it. They don't ask them the lyrics; they don't know, they don't care. But they have daddies that will buy the music for them, and they sell a truckload. And the music industry has gone to hell in a handbasket. And thank God for these young upcoming artists and the middle-aged upcoming artists who have started taking the bull by the horns and bringing back real music. And it's mostly independent, or it's small subsidiary labels, but it's there.
Mm.
But the major, if you watch the Grammys, it's all a bunch of crap. It
Oh, I don't watch
really
the
is.
Grammys
Yeah,
because it
I
is a
don't
bunch
either.
of crap.
And it's basically the music industry patting itself on the back for being so smart and so cultured and so talented, when it's actually a bunch of talentless boobs trying to outdo each other. And honestly, I don't give a crap who you're wearing. Just get off my TV screen. But um, if I could change anything, it would be to change the state of the music industry today and bring music back, musicality, true songwriting, true artists in the studio, get rid of the stinking auto tune, because that is the, I mean, it's a useful tool, but when it becomes an instrument, it's ridiculous. When auto tune becomes an instrument in a song, that's stupidity. You know, auto tune is there just to tweak a vocal. That's all it's there for. It's to tweak a vocal. If they're a little flat, sharpen it. If they're a little sharp, flatten it. It's not to dominate the vocals of the song.
Well, I would ask you, my next question was going to be, what are your thoughts on the music industry? But I think you just answered that there, right there, to be
Oh,
honest. So,
my music attorney would agree, and so would my friends in Nashville. Yeah, they all agree with me.
yeah, I completely agree with you as well. You know, the big labels, they just push out crap all the time. It's not, most of the time, it's not the fault of the artists that are signed to them, you know,
No,
because they're not allowed to
it
do
is
anything
it's the
original.
executives, because these are throwaway artists. They have no
Yeah.
longevity. They're famous for 2 years and they're thrown away.
Mm.
And what does that do to that poor person? I mean, when they become, well, you're no longer relevant because you're too old. But, like I said, Keith Richards is 162 and he's still relevant.
I thought he was older than that. I thought he was like 380.
Well, you know what? I might have misread his birth date. It's like when God said, "Let there be light," he flipped the switch. That's how old Keith Richards.
Yeah. So with saying that, then, how do you feel that the internet has impacted the music industry then, as it stands today?
Good and bad. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, you can use. There's lots of great artists out there who put out a lot of. Well, like Cygnus, the band I did the Brother Whiskey with.
Mm.
They put out music every week. They put out a music video, a fully produced music video and produced song every Friday. They are complete workaholics. They put out fantastic music every week. And it's like they just put it out there. And their fan base is gigantic. I mean, I think my fan base increased tenfold when they did this song with me, because they have a lot more fans than I do.
Mm.
And most of their fans is female. Most of their fans are female fans. Most of my fans are middle-aged white dudes. You know, he plays some more country music there, buddy. But so I got a lot of their fans vicariously by them covering one of my songs.
Yeah.
And they did a great job. Now there's other. My wife's going to hit me for this. Have you heard of Ice JJ Fish?
No.
Oh, you don't want to. But it's so funny. He's got 1 million plus views because he's so freaking terrible. He's so terrible, he's fantastic. I mean, he's a rapper, and you just look up Ice JJ Fish. You will literally.
He definitely can't be a country rapper, because country rap is just
No,
amazing. It's never
yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Well, opinions are what they're like. And who has them? But he is just really, really bad, and I love it. I love listening to horrible musical fails. I don't know. It just, to me, it's funny. But no, one of my friends told me the only thing worse than a bad singer is a bad singer who thinks they're fantastic.
Oh, I know plenty of them.
Yeah, I do too. And but I think the internet has done wonderful things for music, and there's other parts that are terrible. Where, like, you can hear music for free, and it eliminates the desire to buy the music, because you can hear it for free. And who's going to buy the music they want to hear if they can hear it for free? They don't have to buy it.
Mm.
So, it's not like in the days where you had to buy an album or even buy a CD. You can just get it offline, and and that's the problem there, because there is a worldwide audience, and 99.9% of them just get the crap for free.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem I have with the internet is music is too easy to get for free.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you there. I do. I really do agree with you there. I mean, album sales, they are really like obviously important. Streaming sites, they don't really, they don't pay what the artist actually should
I
earn.
think I think it's a tenth of a penny
It's
per
zero.
stream.
At last check, it was 0.008 of a dollar. At last check,
Wonderful.
yeah. At last
One of
check,
my students, one of my students was signed to a really bad record deal. God love her. She was so amazing, vocally just tremendous. And I wrote a bunch of her songs. He went to this record company. The producer did a crappy job, and he wanted to be the only musician. He didn't want any of us. I said, look, I wrote the daggum songs. I know how to play them.
mm,
Well, I'll just play them away. And so he did it and whatever. But they put out her album, and none of us were happy with it, especially her. She finally got a royalty check for 1 penny.
wow, what the
She
fuck?
actually put it on her refrigerator with a magnet just to laugh at it. She said it cost them more to send the check than the check's worth.
That's
Can you
crazy.
imagine getting a check for a penny?
That's
That
mental.
but that's the music industry. Here's where I get my royalties from radio play. I get
Mm,
more royalties. When I was on Dan Aykroyd's show, I was featured on his show back 15 years ago. And uh, because it's syndicated worldwide, for every station that carried the show that I was on, I got a royalty.
mm,
And so I think my biggest royalty check was around 400 some dollars. And then I was on the charts I was on the Roots Music Report national charts. I was on there for top 40 for like, I don't know, somewhere around 160 weeks. And so I got a couple royalty checks for around $200. But airplay still, unless you are in the top 10 on Billboard, you're not going to see big royalty checks. Billboard is the one that's going to make their big royalty, especially if you're in the top 10.
yeah.
And the only way you get in the top 10 is to be on a major label. And because they are in the billboards in the pockets of the major labels, they work hand in hand.
Mm,
Now you do have independent charts. Like I said, Roots Music Report is a really nice chart to be on. I've been on there several times. Um, Lots of independent radio charts. That's all fine. But the real money comes through live gigs and selling merchandise at live gigs. That's where
yeah.
the money is.
Yeah. Actually getting out there, playing shows and selling your merchandise to the people actually there. Yeah.
Yep. And and that's why I have yes.
Mm.
Hint, hint, hint. Merchandise available on CountZeroRecords.com. But yeah,
And if you
I'm
missed it, the link will be down in the description.
yes indeed. But yeah, that's the music industry. I'm not in the music business to be in the business. I'm in the music business to make my music, put it out, and whatever happens, happens. I'm not too concerned about being famous. You have to have some notoriety to get people to come see you, but you don't have to be a household name to have a good fan base. Uh, and if my whole thing is, I want to be an honest artist. I
Mm,
don't want to pretend to be. I don't want to make music that doesn't represent me personally. I mean, the music I make is music I would listen to, and the songs I write from personal experience and personal uh, personal feelings, uh, so on and so forth. And so I assume that I'm not the only person on the planet who shares the same feelings I do. And so my songs are meant for me, but I hope they reach other people and touch them as well.
Yeah.
And that's the whole. And if my music helps somebody in any way, that's worth more than money to me.
I like that. I like that. Very honest answer. I like that. Right, Ken. Well, we are actually now running up to the end of our time slot. So I've only got two more questions for you
All right.
before I can let you go on your merry, merry way. So, my first question for you now, you mentioned earlier that you've done other podcast shows and you've been interviewed before. So, the question that I'm going to ask you is very important. It's a very important question. And I
Yeah.
know for a fact you haven't been asked it before. And if
All
you
right.
do any other interviews after this, no question that they ask you will ever compare to this question. It is that important.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. I bet you're all intrigued now, aren't you, about what I'm gonna say?
I am all a flutter.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
So, do you sing in the shower? And if you do, what do you sing? See? Important question.
Honestly, I'm not in the shower long enough to sing. I get in and out. I'm not. I'm now. My wife likes to shower. She takes long showers, and I get in, clean up, rinse off, get out. So I don't sing in the shower. Um, I'm too concentrated on getting clean, and so
Okay, fair enough. So, have you had fun doing this with me then today?
dude, we got to do this again.
I
I've
was
had a
literally, I was
you're so
literally just
much
about to
fun,
say, yeah, I was literally just about to say if you wanted to come back on the show again.
dude. I'd love to, man. I'm having a blast. I think we should keep going. Make
Yeah,
it a two
well,
part.
make
All
make it a two-part episode. Well, I'll tell you what. How about we do a part two episode?
right.
Yeah, we'll get the second part of the episode set up later on down the line. Yeah,
All right. Sounds
yeah, we'll
good,
do
man.
that. Yeah, I've enjoyed talking to you, so I'm definitely up for that.
All right, man. You're a blast, dude. And I tell you one thing about people from the UK. I always have a great time talking to them on and being interviewed by them, and they're always so gracious. You've been very gracious. All my UK uh, uh, interviewers have been very gracious, and even I've been interviewed by other Europeans, and they've all been really wonderful. So I always have good time talking to my UK buddies, and you guys are great.
Oh, thank you. That means a
And we need
lot.
to get. I'm going to get you biscuits and gravy when you come here, my brother.
You're gonna get me biscuits and gravy when I come there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good old American food, man.
Yes, I've heard that one quite a lot actually from a lot of other American friends that I've got. When I talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, when you come over, we're getting you this. We're gonna get you that." And I was like, "Okay, great, cool. I can't
That's not
wait."
now. That's not cookies because you call them biscuits, we call them cookies. Well, you call scones, we call biscuits.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So
That's what I mean. No, oh yeah, we're gonna
yeah,
get you biscuits and gravy. You're gonna love it. I
like,
was like, "Okay, cool, yeah,
gravy over cookies. That don't sound good at all.
yeah,
Uh, an
yeah."
Oreo with gravy. That sounds wonderful. But yeah,
I'm actually looking forward
we'll
to
get.
trying a corn dog. I've never tried a corn dog before.
He's never had a corn.
I've never had a corn dog before.
You know
My
the
wife
corn
has.
dog. You know how to,
My wife
and they're
has.
not
She's
hard to
been to
make.
America. My wife's been to America on a holiday before, uh, but she's had corn dogs. I've never had a corn dog.
Have you
Saying
had
that, I've never been
cornbread?
to America. Yeah, we
Have
have
you ever had
cornbread. Yeah,
cornbread?
yeah, I've had
Okay.
cornbread.
What you do with corn dog is you mix up the cornbread mix,
Uh huh.
stick a sharp stick in the end of the hot dog, dip it in the cornbread mix, and then deep fry it. That's a corn dog.
So Just like Scotland, everything in America is deep fried.
Everything.
Right.
We have deep, we have deep fried fat here.
We have deep fried ice cream here.
Oh, they have that. They call it Mexican ice cream here, or baked Alaska. Baked Alaska is baked, though, isn't it? But we have they have deep. And this is all fair food, carnival food. Deep fried Oreos, deep fried Snicker bars, deep fried candy bars of all kinds. Deep fried hell, I don't know, deep fried everything. Everything they have has got to be cooked in massive vats of hot lard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you
God.
bite into it, and it starts running down your face, and you put on 62 pounds just by looking at it.
I'm having a heart attack just thinking about it.
Yeah, you think about corn dogs and your arteries start to clog. And so,
Right, everybody. Well, that was Ken with me today on A Wee Touch of Madness. Now, as we've just said there, he wants to come back on the show. We're going to do a part 2 episode of the show later on down the line. So if you want to check that out, and if you at home have any questions you would like to ask Ken yourself, it's the same as always. Put it down in the comments, and next time he's on, we'll read them out to him. And as always, it is exactly the same rules. The weirdest, the most messed up, the most fucked up question you can think of, I want to know. Put it down in the comments. I'll read them out. I want to make this guy feel uncomfortable next time we meet.
doubt it happens. I've heard it all.
Yeah. Try and make him feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's what we want. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and make sure you stay tuned for next week, where obviously I will have a brand new guest every single week. And where do I find them? I find them in the same place as always. I find them in the gutter. What can you say? And for all of you at home who have been wondering when all of my episodes are going to be available on the streaming sites like Spotify and Apple Music and Apple Podcasts and all that, by the date of this recording, by the 30th of January 2022, they are going to be available on all the streaming sites, so you will be able to catch them all there. And if you want to check out some of Ken's music, I will have it linked down in the description. Plus, a couple songs that I like is going to be in the official We Touch of Madness playlist on Spotify as well, which I'll have linked down in the description. So make sure you stay safe, and I will see you all next week.
Why do you worry?